Hello boys and girls, how are we? Welcome to House of Whiskey TV yet again. I am Sam Sneed, this is Nigel Kelly, and today we've got another one of our favorite whiskeys. And in fact, Nigel, what do we got going on today?
Okay, we got my personal favourite Springbank, which is the 12-year-old cask strength. This particular version from down in Campbelltown is 52.3%. Every time the 12-year comes out, because they don't do it...
53.2.
Sorry, 53.2. That's what happens when you drink for a living. Each batch comes out slightly different percentage. I've seen it as high as 55, seen it down as low as 50, and it does make a massive difference to it, but it is always Springbank 12-year-old. That big, it is peaty and smoky. It is almost a bridging whiskey between the Highlands and Islay and the Island style of whiskies. But enough of that, let's have a try of it. Sam. Oh my God.
Yeah, see, there's many unique characteristics about the distillery of Springbank itself. Well, a mild interruption there, boys and girls, don't mind us. We actually do work for a living as well. But Springbank it's a very small distillery. They only do a few 100,000 liters a year, and what that does for each individual whiskey is it gives it a unique profile in and of itself. In other words, this Springbank 12-year-old is going to be vastly different from the year before. Yes, the ABVs are going to be different, but also they don't have that many barrels to choose from like some of these larger distilleries that have millions of liters, a whole lot of barrels to choose from. Springbank just doesn't have that luxury. So you're going to get quite a different, not only the ABV of this whiskey, but you're also going to get quite a bit of a different profile. So Nigel and I, as he mentioned, this is his favorite Springbank. We always like to see, it's curious to see just how much of a difference. So let's go in and have a smell.
So just while Sam's doing that, Campbelltown is down at the bottom of the Isthmus of the Mull of Kintyre. Some of you know that particular song. There is only 3 distilleries down there. In fact, it dropped down to 2, and the Scotch Whisky Association tried to remove Campbelltown from the regions of Scotland. And Mr. Mitchell, who's one of the owners, decided that was good enough and opened another distillery and gave the proverbial middle finger to the Scottish Whisky Association. We're so glad that he did. But the Springbank 12-year-old cask strength, it's primarily out of sherry barrels, as you can see by the colour, and that huge big whiskey nose comes off as soon as you smell it.
Boy, it does.
Yeah, because you really do get the peat. But it's a different style of peat because there's a combination of peat which is slightly Highland style, but you also get that Islay style because of the seaweed, because it is quite a narrow isthmus down there.
Coastal distillery, we call it. Now, very Springbanky on the nose, first of all.
I always get that gunpowder.
Yeah, just a wee bit of gunpowder in there. Now, Springbank, it's not as big on the peat as like an Ardbeg, Lefroy, Lagavulin, and something like that. Your peat levels are cut in half. So we're talking only about 20-25 parts per million, we'll say, phenols, and that's how, of course, we measure our peat in a whiskey. So it's easy on the smoke on the nose at first, but boy.
And they do all their own peating and of the barley down at Springbank. It's interesting distillery in the fact that most distilleries now can operate 6-7 people. There's 42 people down at Springbank doing everything by hand, pretty much the same way as they did it when they opened in 1828. So it is also a very old school style of whiskey. There's a robustness to it that you don't see in all of the whiskies.
It's dangerously big. It's a big, bold whiskey, but yet it's actually quite soft once you get on your palate, even at 53.5, did we say? 53.2, sorry. So, yes, again, it's a big whiskey, but it's got almost a little dirty quality that's not bad. It's a bit rough around the edges, but that's what we expect from a Springbank, as you know. But just those caramel notes in there. Once you get through the smoke and the peat aren't overwhelming. There's a bit of a nice, salty, briny.
Yeah, there's almost a sweetness to it that comes out between that's the sherry cask and the saltiness in there. And you're right, there is a dirtiness to it. A little bit of that gunpowder.
Let's try it with just a bit of water, because again, we're talking a pretty big boy this morning. And I'm going to go with 3 drops. Nigel's got a little bit more whiskey than I do, so I'll give him 4 drops, and we'll see. He's a little slower drinker than me, you see. I take my job exceptionally serious.
I'm trying to appreciate the whiskey here.
But, well, I can always add more. We've got plenty left there.
And so those big vanillas come through there as well. Man.
It's a bit floral as well.
The other thing, just at home, you'll notice on all our House of Whiskey TV shows, we're always using the Glencairn glass. Very important in terms of the glass that we use, just to capture those aromas. So Glencairn glass, well worth the investment.
I'll I'll tell you, just for what it's worth, any cask strength whiskey, after you initially sip it, especially if it's over 50%, of course cask strength whiskeys will vary, but over 50%, you're going to get a drying sensation on the palate because that's that alcohol pulling away everything. You're going to get left with a little bit of a drying sensation. So when we do add the water, I definitely see you get a much longer finish.
Yeah.
You roll your tongue around and you pick up all these extra notes in there.
That's just going and going and going. I feel like Puff the Magic Dragon. I can feel that smoke coming out as I breathe out.
I'll tell you, I've got to say, because as far as I'm aware, I think we've had all the cask strength versions of the new Springbank 12. I want to say this is maybe 4.
Yep.
I think the last one that was out was a little bit bigger than this, maybe a little hotter. This one is not quite as hot, maybe a little bit more spice in there that you can pick up. It's got a nice little tingle on the sides of the tongue, quite a bit of spice in there, but a good spice, not too hot. I think maybe the last one was definitely hotter than this. But
the nose on that now has really opened up. When you added those few drops of water, that nose now is really quite phenomenal. Keep going back and smelling that all day.
Well, again, I always like to smell an empty glass because you can pick up some of the quirky little bits and pieces. You can really dig into the profile of that whiskey. Once you've removed the alcohol, you've got nothing left in your glass, and you can really smell.
A good job of that quite quickly getting to the bottom of that glass.
Again, I didn't pour as much. I gave you more water, you see. But, all right, so there it is, boys and girls. That's the Springbank 12-year-old cask strength. Absolutely fantastic whiskey. Is there one more thing you'd like to add?
Yeah, just to follow up. So Springbank 12-year-old cask strength whiskey. This particular batch, what did we say? It was 53.2. 53.2. The batches will change from time to time. This is a particularly good batch and one of my favourites, I think, thus far. We're going to have to do a lineup one day of all the Springbank 12s just to check them out, but purely for reference and research purposes, obviously. But a banger whiskey from Campbelltown, down at the Isthmus of the Mull of Kintyre. And it's, again, an area well worth going to visit. So many people, when they do make the pilgrimage across to Isla, don't take that extra hour down to Campbelltown, and it's a cracking night out there. Some great pubs, great people. We are known to the police force down there, so I mentioned Sam and Nigel. And
not so much.
And then click on the link below. Go to and follow us here on House of Whiskey TV.
Yeah, go to our Facebook link, and you'll get to see all the other tastings that we've done, and just stay in touch with us. Sláinte.
Sláinte.